Seatbelts, everyone!
Welcome to Monsters at Midnight. On tonight's show, we will be delving into the many themes of the famed novel Frankenstein. The namesake of the novel will join us tonight, along with the author Mary Shelley. We will also be conversing with a terrifying creature and a man who was always longing for adventure, Robert Walton. Tonight, we will be discussing the romanticism of the novel and how it relates to each character, the age of the Gothic tradition in literature, and the key components to the novel, the pursuit of knowledge, relationships, alienation and isolation, duty, and the power of nature. More when we return. And we are back on Monsters at Midnight. Let's meet the stars of our reunion. Dr. Frankenstein, how are you?
I'm excited to be here, Cornerbatch. It's great to be back with these people. And that thing.
And the always smart Mary Shelley. Tell me, Mary, are there any future projects you are working on?
Well, I have a couple books on my sleeve. My next most likely being The Last Man, but besides the title, it's all hush.
Very well, keep me waiting then. Mr. Walton, have your adventures continued far beyond your viewing of the monster?
After hearing the story of Victor and wishing I hadn't witnessed that foul beast sitting right there, I wanted to return to the peaceful life with my sister.
Absolutely lovely. Lastly, the creature, how have you been lately?
Well, I learned not to put my hand in fire. Oh, and I decided not to kill myself after my creator's horrible demise.
Oh, well, that's lovely as well. Now let's begin. When pondering over the novel Frankenstein, one tends to feel multiple themes come to light numerous times. My favorite being that of the relationships between different characters and the relationship that binds all of you together. Mary Shelley, how exactly did you want the relationship between Frankenstein and his creature to develop?
Well, in the beginning, Frankenstein and the creature shared that of Adam and God in the beginning of the Bible. That's right. Frankenstein represented God in that he would support his living heart and soul into this being, in hopes of creating a new life form, his pre-existing one. This is why I wanted the creature to seemingly grow in intelligence in order to believe that he should have the same rights and purpose as Adam had. As you know, the experiment was what Victor claimed to be a failure, producing an alternative warped version to the story of God and Adam.
I have always thought of Victor as possessing almost a fatherly presence for me as my creator. Even though we didn't always agree, I looked up to him.
If I may interject here, I do believe that it was after I had seen what I had done that I became consumed with wanting to rid this universe of the horrid creature of which I had given no name. Even if I were to die as soon as I had destroyed the creature, I would be content since my mission would be complete.
Well, isn't that wonderful? I was your spawn and you left me for dead. In fact, I would have been better off dead than to have the entire world vomit upon seeing him. Imagine having a god who you adore and worship, yet he does not feel the same. I should have been treated as your son and beloved member of your family. As Adam had the whole world to love him along with his creator, I had neither, and for that I will never wake from my state of depression.
So, I understand here a major theme throughout the novel is the pursuit of knowledge. Victor, would you like to explain to us exactly your view on this?
Well, I have always had a burning passion for the acquisition of knowledge, but my greatest discovery was in fact more knowledgeable than all other things I have learned. Through the creating of the monster, I have learned that humans are happier the less they know. A person's happiest time is a young child when they know very little. The low point of my life was when I was most intent in working and pursuing knowledge. It was this confounding desire to create life that took my life away from me. I wanted to play the role of God and disturb the principles of science, in effect leading me, in more ways than one, to my ultimate demise.
I know too of this yearning to expand my knowledge. Before I ventured out into the high seas, I read books to ready myself and do anything to gain an advantage. Sometimes kept me awake at night and during the day in the form of continuous and fervent daydreams. Never would I have suspected for these seemingly fruitful dreams to turn into nightmares straight from hell when my boat became insured in the chilling ice and polar region. I researched in every possible subject and they would help complete my journey. I was sent almost into a trance. I'd worked so hard. I had even worked as a whaler myself to give me any advantage I could on the high seas.
After my mind had adapted to the new world which I resided upon, I wanted to learn and expand its evolutionized abilities by being instructed through the lessons of my protectors in the woods. My pursuit of knowledge will never cease, even though many around me cease to live.
Yes, thank you for clearing some of that up. Now, some of you, specifically you, creature, have experienced instances of alienation. This feeling of being alone in a huge, new, scary world was a pronounced issue in the novel, and I would like to know how that has affected some of you, mainly the creature.
I felt alone in this world. It was a dark, frightening time, and I even contemplated killing myself in this state of isolation. Even when I was viewing the family and learning of their kind ways, I still felt lonely. Most of this was caused by my terrifying profile and the disgust I brought to man.
Since Victor told me this story, I became afraid of being lonely and wanted nothing more than to return home. I did not want to end up like Victor or his monster and decided to love and cherish my family over my longing for adventure.
I too sometimes feel lonely in my studies, so I know how alienated one can become in their work. Now, Mary Shelley, you wrote this novel coming off the period of Romanticism. Tell me how you think it affected the role of the female author for years to come.
Well, I believe that women should have equal opportunities as men have, so I decided to write this novel in hopes of inspiring other women to be educated. Women can also be seen as a valuable counterpart and a much-needed component to the evolution of the literary world. It was thought that women were not even to read Gothic literature, but I not only indulged in it, but also wrote my own story filled with romanticism and the Gothic.
I like to live my life after the idea of romanticism. The thrilling rush of unknown calls to me, and I would never want to shun my deep feelings of adventure. Evolving in Europe in the end of the 18th century, this is the basis of my strong beliefs.
I too love the literature of the Romantic era, such as The Vampire by Dr. John William Polidori. Mary Shelley, how is yours and Victor's creation of the monster comparative to other monsters of Gothic tradition?
The monster is a dark, terrifying creature that I feel is beyond the terror of other monsters such as Dracula, where Dracula drinks the blood of a victim in their sleep. The monster smashes their heads in, killing them easily.
I am what strikes fear into the hearts of men, and what makes their wives tremble at night, and what kids think are under their beds. Novels like mine were said to be too traumatizing to women and children.
As we conclude on our program, we have two final themes: duty and the power of nature.
Well, the nature I could speak for, due to the voyages that I took to the Arctic and having been trapped in the icy clutches of the polar region. If not being ensnared by ice, Victor never would have come across my ship that saved him in his search for the monster.
The mountainous polar area where I searched for the monster was another huge factor. All of the regions where I went in hopes of trying to escape the beast showed varying powers of nature. Whether the area was in the cold polar regions or the dark forestry of my homeland, it affected my ability to escape the peril of the monster. When talking about the theme of duty, this greatly reflects my part in the novel. For it was my duty to care for the monster since it was my creation. That, my friends, is why I did not want to create a new monster and felt absolutely terrible when my creation killed innocent people.
I felt as if it was my duty to write this novel in order to demonstrate the post-romantic ideology that women should become better educated and cultured.
I felt it to be my duty to tell the story of Frankenstein, so that all may know of this tale as he in the pursuit of knowledge.
And it is my duty to end our program tonight. Don't let the bedbugs bite. Tonight we will be discussing the romanticism of the novel and how it relates to each character, the age of the Gothic tradition in literature, and the key components to the novel: the pursuit of knowledge, relationships, alienation and isolation, duty. Yeah, and we're back. Monsters of Midnight.
And
we're back on Monsters of Midnight.
And we're back!
And we're back on Monsters of Midnight. And we're back. Monsters of Midnight. And we're back. Monsters of Midnight. Let's meet the stars of our reunion. Dr. Frankenstein, how are you? And we're back on Monsters of Midnight. Let's meet the stars of our reunion. Dr. Frankenstein, how are you?
And we're back, y'all!
I'm trying to think of that. And we're back on Monsters of Midnight.
And we're back on Monsters of Midnight.